All right, guys, I want to show you the secret to a Glock pistol. A lot of people may not know this, but Glock has a secret component, if you will, on their trigger system. I want to demonstrate that to you today. Today I'm using a Glock 43X, I'm sorry. Take the magazine out. I want to pull the slide back, make sure it's an empty weapon. Visually manually inspect that weapon, make sure there's no rounds in the chamber. And you can see I've taken the magazine out of the pistol. All right, let's slide forward and let it go. With this Glock secret, a lot of people don't understand that one of the ways to shoot more accurately is to take the slack out of a trigger. The less time I'm pulling the trigger, the less opportunity or chance I have to misalign my sights when I'm pulling the trigger and trying to maintain my front sight on target. If you look at the pistol here, you notice the first part of the trigger that returns to the rear as you press it. It's real easy. So at the beginning of the trigger, you see where it's positioned now. If I put my finger on the trigger now and pull it back about 50% of the way, it's really easy to do that. The reason why that is because there's not much tension on that trigger until you get about halfway or 65% of the way back. The reason why there's tension is because now I'm operating the mechanism that will remove the safety plunger, and it's compressing a spring before the firing pin drops forward and the trigger breaks like so. Now, to the point where the trigger breaks means when it comes all the way back to the rear, the gun fires. The position from the beginning to that point, we call that the slack, okay? Now what we want to do is, the secret of the Glock trigger is, we take the slack out of the trigger and we press it and the gun goes bang at the gun range, bang. The pistol will slide, will cycle. We'll come back and go forward. What you want to do is, after you fire that initial shot, you want to continue to press the trigger to the rear. Once you do that, you can slowly let that trigger out. Do you hear that click? Now guess what? I can pull the trigger again at that point. And that gives me a very short trigger pull. That means I don't have to play with the slack in the trigger. The less time I'm spending on the trigger pulling it to the rear, the better chance I have of keeping my sights lined up and returning a quicker shot on target. So that's called the trigger reset. Now there are other makes and models of pistols out there that do have the trigger reset, but I like it on the Glock pistol. A lot of people don't understand that. If you're having a difficult time being accurate with a pistol, try the trigger reset. I'll demonstrate that one more time. So as if this was a loaded weapon, put one in the chamber, and you would drop the slide forward, and say you pull the trigger and you fire your first shot at the range, bang. What would happen is that slide would cycle to the rear and go forward. And what you want to do is you want to maintain the pressure of the trigger down until that slide goes forward. Yeah, that's why I had the magazine out, because it doesn't do that very well with the magazine in, because there's a safety there. So I'll demonstrate that again. My apologies. So you pull the trigger, slide goes back to the rear, comes forward. Now we slide it slightly, let the trigger out very slowly until you hear that click. Then you can pull the trigger again a second time. That's called the trigger reset. Try that out at the range next time you go. Take care.